Hi everyone, Happy Diwali. I would like to speak to you about the story of Rama and Sita from a very lay person's perspective. So here goes. The story of Rama and Sita, from what I remember, is about two gods who were banished to the forest. Actually, Rama was banished to the forest, I believe, for 14 years, and Sita, who was very devoted to him, decided to follow him into the forest. There were many adventures or many stories of the experiences in the forest, which I don't remember, and one of which was that they, at the end, they killed this demon, and after killing the demon, then they left the forest, and then they went to the village where they came from, lit candles, lit oil lamps, so that they were able to follow the light and find their way back home. Okay, a bit of backdrop on the story of Rama and Sita. In Hindu culture, it's believed that tens of thousands of years ago, gods lived with human beings. So gods, we are told, tens of thousands of years ago walked and lived amongst human beings. About a few weeks ago, I had the experience, grateful for having the experience of trying South American medicine, ayahuasca, which is regarded as very feminine energy, and San Pedro, which comes from a cactus in South America, that is regarded as being very masculine energy. I'm going to tell you about this briefly to link up to the story of Rama and Sita. If you go on the internet, you'll find many stories of people's experiences with ayahuasca, the plant ayahuasca. It varies, it depends on the individual. The plant medicine, it's not addictive. And by the way, some people might say it's a drug, but actually it's a plant medicine. It's made out of two plants combined together. So anyways, ayahuasca speaks to the individual in the language that individual understands, at the level of consciousness that the individual's at. So people get very deep understandings and teachings about themselves, and through understanding themselves, they also start to perceive reality and connection to reality, or connection to people and just life itself on a different level. Our society disconnects us, whereas the plant like ayahuasca, basically when you ingest it, you drink it, it's like almost made like a tea. You drink it, it scans your body, and in the Indian culture, we speak about chakras. We have 7 chakras, and each chakra has a different color and different emotions attached to every chakra. Also, other Eastern, like Tao, I came across a Taoist master who also speaks about how our organs or spaces, our different organs harbor and different emotions. For example, our kidneys are linked to feelings of anxiety and depression. So, if you're somebody that suffers from kidney issues, it's very possible that you're also a person that suffers from anxiety, issues with anxiety. Now, we're not born to anxious, and we're not born depressed. but things happen in life, and we're born with a certain vibration, but through experiences our vibrations get altered, and depending on those emotions, there's certain areas in our bodies where the vibration is tweaked, and when that vibration is altered, it's not in balance and unison with keeping us healthy, and then that unbalanced or lower vibration, say around the kidneys, then also creates physical issues with our kidneys, as an example, or even psychological issues like the anxiety and depression. So taking something like ayahuasca, drink it, it scans your body, it literally realigns, it retunes your vibration, and then by retuning your vibration, it also unlocks all the toxins that the vibration is harboring. It's nesting toxins in your body because the vibration is off. So the toxins around your kidneys, around your heart, your lungs, your spleen, your intestines, it unlocks it. It unlocks it because the vibration now is allowing it to release, and then you're able to throw up all of these toxins. So it literally cleanses your body. Okay, as I said before, there are many different people experience ayahuasca. There's different lessons. So the experience that other people have, I did not have that similar experience, or the medicine itself did not spoke to me about things that I needed to understand at that time, whereas the people around me, they had other lessons that they needed to learn. So one of the lessons I learned, I was given about ayahuasca through experience, was experiencing sacred femininity. Sacred femininity, you see, in our society, firstly, we're quite detached. We don't understand ourselves. We detach from nature, we detach from others, and we detach from ourselves. So we hear about these things called toxic masculinity, and we hear about femininity, but it's very kind of there's no deeper understanding of it. We just take for granted that this is what it is. Some of us even believe that masculinity is just toxic. But from the experiences with ayahuasca and San Pedro, I got experiential an experience of sacred masculinity and sacred femininity. So in terms of sacred femininity, what I found was that, what I experienced was that femininity is, or sacred femininity is divine creation. If we look at ourselves, where did we come from? Yes, there was a sperm and ovary that created us, but ourselves, we created from the unknown, but we come into life. We're like miracles, and in a way, if you close your eyes, if you go into dreams, where do those images come from? They come from darkness, from the unknown. It's a mystery. So one aspect is that femininity, or sacred femininity, is the divine creation. It's organic, and other aspects is femininity is about nurturing, and it's about healing. I suppose that's why a lot of people, but this is also across genders, the idea of, especially within females, we believe a lot of us have like a savior complex, like we choose partners that we feel that we have it within us to be able to heal them, or we also feel like we're able to maybe heal people in our families, or we have much more of a capacity, or like even males having that type of feeling that there is something in us that is capable of healing. I think that is the feminine, or the sacred femininity that we have within us, with San Pedro, which is a much more masculine, or I was introduced to it as a much more masculine plant energy, plant medicine. It comes from a cactus also in South America, and they also brew it into like a tea which you drink. And the South Americans use it for vision quests. So what the experience I had from that as well, it can be very varied. Nobody gets the same experience, but the lessons I drew from that was it gave me a experience of, or a moment to experience sacred masculinity. Before this point, I didn't know that something like this could exist. I didn't understand what masculinity was or its importance until I experienced it. So from my experience, sacred masculinity, there's a sense of fearlessness in masculinity. Like when you have children who are just very adventurous, especially when you see it, or we allow it to be expressed, especially for our boy children, where they will, they will be jumping up on things from very young, that you would be afraid. They're very adventurous. They just feel they can do anything. That is like that fearlessness. And then the other aspect of sacred masculinity is systems and processes and frameworks. So on one hand you have sacred femininity, which is creation, which is organic, but also it's healing and it's nurturing. And then you have the sacred masculinity, which is about fearlessness, about adventure, about taking on challenges. At the same time, while taking on challenges, creating systems and processes and frameworks to channel energy. So in our society, okay, I know that this is a long story, but please bear with me. In our society at present, we are in a society that elevates masculinity and suppresses femininity. Now, what I learned from these plant medicines is that each of us, we are born with both masculine and feminine energy. That when we have an unbalance of either masculine, where we elevate masculine energy and suppress feminine energy, or we elevate feminine energy and suppress masculine energy, it becomes destructive to the way in which we deal with ourselves, to our bodies, and the way in which we interact and relate with others and with the environment. We become destructive, we become enslaved. And we become vulnerable to being enslaved. So how does this happen? When you, for instance, if you had to elevate masculinity and suppress femininity, like what we are doing in our society, we elevate masculinity, we suppress femininity. A person that is hyper-masculine and suppresses her femininity will be somebody that is maybe very robotic in nature. Like even be it whether they are working or even practicing spirituality or religion, they look at it at a very surface layer. They look at it in terms of following orders, and if you look at our culture is really based on just being robotic and being the best at following orders. We praise, we reward people who are very good at taking orders. So you become quite robotic and rigid, because that is the masculine energy. It's about processes, systems. It's even rigid, it's robotic, but it also is like a frame creates frameworks. So you will be a person, will become people that are able to take orders, follow orders, be very detached, but we won't be people that are able to fulfill our own desires, our own goals. because we have suppressed our feminine energy. Neither will we be people that are able to heal ourselves, and from healing ourselves, being able to heal our loved ones or heal society, because we have suppressed our ability, our feminine energy that we are born with, to be healers, to be nurturers, and to be creators. On the other extreme, if you elevate feminine energy and suppress masculine energy, because you're suppressing masculine energy, which is built on the framework. So if you can take energy and you can be, you have amazing possibility, amazing creator, but if you do not have systems, processes, and create a framework to channel that energy towards certain goals, you are not going to be a person to actually fulfill the goals in your desires. So people who suppress their feminine energy and or suppress their masculine energy and elevate their feminine energy may not be people that are able to actually complete fulfill their goals, able to complete anything, very disorganized, suffer from anxiety and depression because of that. So those are, it's unstable. But if you have this balance between the masculine and feminine, the feminine being creation and the masculine being the creating systems, processes, and frameworks to channel the energy that we have into whatever projects we want to achieve, whatever goals, and within channeling that energy, also being able to heal ourselves, heal others, create bonds and good relations within society, is something that we lack in the society, because our society is at this moment very unbalanced and is hyper masculine. Okay, before going into the story of Rama and Sita, this is going to link to Rama and Sita, just bear with me. Before going into the story of Rama and Sita, I want to also speak to you about this concept of perception. I don't know how many people watching this know about this, but we perceive reality and we create reality through our mind. So for instance, our eyes, say you're looking at a tree in front of you, there will be a group of people, maybe, okay, let's not look at a tree, but maybe an incident taking place in front of you. You can have 5 people watching this incident take place, but each one of them are experiencing the incident in a different way. They, because of the experiences internally, we perceive our reality differently, considering the way in which our minds operate and our experiences in life and our conditioning. Another thing, just to go deeper into it, is that we don't see reality with our eyes. Our eyes, for instance, it filters light. Our brain, our mind creates reality from the light filtering in. Just like it's not our nose that smells like supper being made, best cake or whatever meal that we enjoy. It's our brain that is creating that sensation of smell. So we're picking it up through our nose, but it's our brain that is creating it. Taste as well, touch as well. So it's our brain that. So there's some people who are born with, you can touch them, but their brain is not acknowledging the touch. So you have these kids who like burn themselves, not even realizing that they have put their hand on a hot plate, because their brain is not registering that they are touching a hot plate. So why am I trying to tell? What's the purpose of this? Thousands of years ago, or tens of thousands of years ago, we don't know the way society operated, the way in which people perceived reality. Remember, we think reality is something external, but actually the whole of reality is created here. It's the mind that is filtering all of the sensory perception through our eyes, nose, mouth, touch, taste, and then is creating an image of what reality is to us. And then the conditioning and experiences is then telling us this is what reality means to the individual. So the story of Rama and Sita, now going back to Rama and Sita, it's right now, because of the way in which our society operates, we look at things very externally because we are in a hyper-masculine society, so things are detached. When we listen to stories, we listen to it as something external. But maybe we should consider that the story, for instance, of Rama and Sita and these gods that existed tens of thousands of years ago is the existence of something that we could have perceived in our minds. Right now, for instance, you have people who are able to see ancestors or spirits and other entities. There are people who speak about seeing extraterrestrial entities, other people who speak solely on the human plane. We're able to see our ancestors or communicate with the spirit realm, and others were not. But that's not happening externally, that's happening in our mind. Our mind is able to take in sensory information and create images from what is happening, from what we perceive is happening outside us. So let's say, for argument's sake, that tens of thousands of years ago, people were at the vibration and at the consciousness and could filter information to a point where they were able to see both human beings and people of a higher consciousness that we now refer to as gods. That may be possible. Another, okay, so let's leave it at that. But now going back to the story of Rama and Sita, maybe, it's Diwali night, so I said, let me just say the story, because I was speaking to my cousin about it. I'm in Chatsworth right now in Durban, so the topic came up. So maybe the story of Rama and Sita as well is not something that it's not a story about an external entity, because remember, we are perceiving reality. What we believe is reality, it's made up in our minds. So even these characters called, or these symbols called Rama and Sita, we perceive them, they're here. Just like how we look at our mother, children, friends, lovers, etc. The way in which we look at them, the way in which we relate to them, the way in which we even see that they exist, it's here. And how they exist, it's in our minds. So maybe it's not a literal story. Rama and Sita is not a literal story. So as I said, Rama and Sita is a story about, or Diwali is a story about these two gods who were banished into a forest, and then for 14 years, and then eventually came out of the forest and were guided back home by human beings through them putting lights in their windowsills, and that whole village just lit up that night so that these gods can go back home. Now look at Rama is masculine. Let's look at him as sacred masculine energy. And then Sita was not banished into the forest, but because she was so loyal to Rama, she followed him. One of the things that we see over and over again, as I'm saying, I'm a lay person. I have not studied this stuff, but I'm just saying that maybe, this is from my perspective at this moment. A lot of the Indian deities, female deities, they're always seen as people who are very sacrificial. And therefore it's like translated in our society as women who need to always sacrifice themselves to males. very loyal. We worship males. We have very sacrificial lambs to males, and that's how we prove ourselves as such. But if you look at, as I was going back to the idea of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine is about frameworks, processes, channels, right? Fearlessness. The sacred feminine is organic, it's divine creation, it's nurturing, and it's healing. I'm looking at these two energies like it makes sense that creation is loyal, and creation will always be loyal to framework. Creation will always be loyal to framework. So whether we use the framework for destructive or healing purposes, creation will always be loyal to framework. So it makes sense in terms of the story of Rama and Sita, that Sita, being sacred femininity, was loyal to Rama, sacred masculinity, when he moved into the forest and he was banished. I don't understand what the forest was. Maybe the forest is the mind. I don't understand the symbolism of the 14 years, and why was it 14 years? Is it the first 14 years of one's life? The importance of the first 14 years of a child's life, to be able to balance the sacred feminine and masculine energies. And then at the end, they slayed this demon. I don't know the story exactly of the slaying of the demon, but what is interesting is at the end they now come out of the forest and they are guided to the realm of humanity, the villages, through light. And like in Eastern spirituality, we speak about enlightenment, higher consciousness, and maybe this happening, this again, sacred femininity, sacred masculinity, the perception of reality is all happening in our minds. Maybe this is a story about the journey of some of us towards a greater, higher spiritual understanding of existence, and then the light and humanity is a representation of, once you balance these two forces or these two energies, then you are then you move towards maybe enlightenment, or you move towards a humanity, or you become a human being, or a better human being. I don't know. So that is my type of interpretation at this point on what Diwali is, and the story of Rama and Sita. Thank you for listening.